Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and Fridays usually mean Friday happy hour. Don't get me wrong, we got some deals that we're going to be doing here. We're going to have some drinks flowing, but we actually have quite a bit of Raiders news and rumors to discuss, and we actually have a lot of Raiders coaching news to break down here on today's show. So the way that today's live is going to go is this. If you got any questions, hashtag Raiders or Super Chat, you get them up on screen. If you want to enter a duck race, put some money in your pocket, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. If you came here to bang, well then let's freaking party it up here. It's Friday. I'm ready for a 3-day weekend, and even if any Raiders news happens, and I expect some Raiders news to happen this weekend. I don't care if it's my off day. I don't care what's going on. I promise you this, I will always do my best to keep you guys up to date. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to roll through all the news that has really happened here in the last 2 hours, and then I'm going to get into an entire video with everything that you need to see. Let's first start it off here with Aubrey Pleasant. He is the current Rams pass game coordinator and assistant head coach right now for the Los Angeles Rams. The Raiders requested to interview him for their defensive coordinator job, meaning right now the two candidates that the Raiders have requested to interview for their defensive coordinator job, if you haven't already voted at the live poll up there, I'm going to ask you right now, give me an RL for Rob Leonard, or I want you to type AP for Aubrey Pleasant. Though Rob Leonard, there's no H. Positive. Yes. Positive. AP for Aubrey Pleasant. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Spamming AP again might be kind of weird. Though, RL for Rob Leonard. And I'm going to give you guys my opinion, and I kind of want to wait a little bit until I get into my actual show around why I ultimately think the Raiders end up requesting Pleasant, because I think there's a multitude of different reasons. And I already put a video out probably like 2 hours ago on the Raiders Report, just breaking down like the news of it all. But to me, this is why I want y'all to subscribe. I am seeing right now 74% of the votes are for Rob Leonard. Rustin Long's going to go with Leonard. McKay Kreb is going to go with Leonard. The Mark Bates says Leonard. Though Ty says AP. I see a little bit of a mixed bag in here. Somebody's typing JS for Jim Schwartz. You know, again, like Jim Schwartz right now is a pipe dream. And what do I mean by that? He's still technically the Browns defensive coordinator. Like we can't hire him right now because, again, he's still under contract with the Browns. I was hoping that he was going to leave Cleveland because he's kind of made it pretty clear to them, hey, I don't want to be your defensive coordinator for the Browns. But guess what? That wasn't the only news that ended up going down here today. Seahawks defensive pass game specialist and DB coach Karl Scott, somebody that I brought up multiple times on this show, somebody that, you know, I'd say at this point, probably like 3 weeks ago, I had someone reach out to me and essentially say, watch out for Karl Scott to be the next Raiders defensive coordinator. And Scott's been somebody that I know for a fact I've brought up on the show a few times in terms of Raiders defensive coordinators. Scott's been with Seattle since 2022, and I do think that it makes sense for him to stay in Seattle because that Arizona job, we've been kind of joking about it all day today in the Chat Sports office. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to be the worst team in the NFL, and I think they got the worst coaching staff in the NFL. But the other interesting thing about Scott was he was on the Minnesota Vikings coaching staff in 2021 when Klint Kubiak was the offensive coordinator. But guess what? More news rolling in here. This one's from Fowler. The Raiders requested Seahawks assistant Justin Otten for run game coordinator, but Seattle blocked the request. So friendly reminder, if you are requesting a coach and it's a lateral move, then that other team is allowed to block it. If the Raiders were to request Otten to be a OC, Seattle would not be able to block it. Now, I am not really surprised that the Seahawks did this because Otten is a very well-respected run game coordinator. I talked to our Seahawks host, and he told me he took over in Week 9. And when he took over in Week 9, it really amplified that running game. I think it's really when you saw Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and ultimately like that Seahawks offense take it to the next step a little bit. What also, though, when I think about this in two different ways. The first thing that I think about is, well, That tells me that they're not looking at Justin Otten from an offensive coordinator standpoint. I sat up here and I said, if you are going to bring in anybody from Seattle, I thought the top 3 names were going to be Justin Otten, was technically number 3, but Jake Peetz and Andrew Janocko. Jake Peetz is the Seahawks pass game coordinator. Andrew Janocko is the quarterback coach. So in my mind, what this tells me, yes, we got blocked, but that also tells me the Raiders were not interested in Justin Otten to be their OC. So I'm thinking Andrew Janocko or Jake Peetz. Just like I'm thinking Jake Peetz or it's going to be Andrew Janocko in Seattle. One of those guys is going to be the Seahawks OC. I believe the other is going to be the Raiders OC, and I'll continue to put my money on Andrew Janocko. The other thing that you should consider from this, the video that I put out, it's probably earlier in the week. I mean, it's definitely earlier in the week, about my coaching staff predictions. I said that I believe Rick Dennison was going to be the Raiders' offensive line coach because Rick Dennison and Justin Otten both did a lot for the running game, both did a lot for the offensive line, and if Otten's going to stay in this role, I think he's going to stay in that role in Seattle, and then I believe that that means we're going to end up getting the guy that I thought we were going to get, Rick Dennison. But guess what? I haven't made a short on this video yet. I don't know what that was. This is shit falling here in the studio. Also, I got my guy Chuggs. If anybody wants to see Chuggs, give me some Chuggses down below. The other news that literally just happened 5 minutes right before we went live. I always like to get you guys shorts, but I didn't want to be too late for this show. And Schefter says Patriots quarterback coach Ashton Grant has decided to remain in New England rather than discuss the vacant offensive coordinator job with the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll say this. I am not shocked at all, and you shouldn't be shocked at all, that a Josh McDaniels coach doesn't want to come to the Raiders. And let's just be honest with ourselves here. Like, I saw this news. I'm not shocked. And also in the same breath, I'm kind of happy that this didn't end up happening because I do like Drake May. I think anybody here knows that Drake May was my #1 quarterback coming out of the 2024 NFL Draft. And I do think that he's done a really good job with Josh McDaniels. But at the same time, I did not want to hear, and I don't want to hear, man, we're bringing in past Patriots, we're bringing in Josh McDaniels, guys, to be the OC of the Las Vegas Raiders. So I'm not surprised by this news, even in the slightest. If you're wondering what the deals are on today's program,
Whoa!
Here are the happy hour deals. All right, so here's one thing, and I'm always going to be honest with y'all. Chuggs, he's going to be doing some of the beer cheers. I am only going to do shots today. I didn't really want to drink too much beer because I actually did just get done doing, I woke up this morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 72-hour fast. It's the greatest protein shake I've ever had. I'm telling you this right now. Unbelievable. First time I ate solid food was about, I don't know, 2 hours ago. Chuggs got us some chicken sandwiches, and they were freaking bomb. So I'm not really going to be drinking too much, but the way that I like happy hour to go is this. If somebody sends in a super chat and you're watching this program at home, hey, don't be afraid to give us a little beer cheers. Don't be afraid to say, hey, appreciate you guys. If you want to get in our duck race, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. If you bang on the show, I got a shot wheel. Whatever it lands on is the shot I got to take. If you want to see a boot go down, it's a big boy today because I am a little bit nervous of what a boot could do to my stomach. You got the first one?
I got the first one.
Oh, man. All right. Shit. $500 Venmo. We put a boot down. And whoever the MVP is of today's program, you get to pick my birthday punishment. Or I'll even throw out there, like, if you want me to drink a certain beer, if you want me to get a certain liquor, because my dad's going to be here in the studio, and he is very, very, very excited about this. So, again, y'all, if you want to get in, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365 to get in our duck race. We gave away $190 yesterday on the program, and I would anticipate we're going to be giving away some money here on the show today. I already see, actually, Noah Santana
Zon
getting it in, Soulja Man getting it in, and then Chris Cog also getting it in. Shout out to David Zahn. Shout out to all of y'all. Friday the 13th. Who's trying to get spooky today?
Ooh.
February 9th, I turned 21. The day we got Klint Kubiak. as head coach. David Rubio, happy birthday to you, and I know you've been a long, long time viewer. Hey, first happy hour here on the Raiders Report.
Rubio.
Oakland Raiders, I thought it was your day off, bro. Now, so now that the season is over, we're probably going to be working Monday through Friday again, which usually means Friday happy hour is going to be back here on the Raiders Report. I am off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We get the extra day off because I forget.
President's Day.
Oh, it's President. I was going to say, I think actually, I didn't know if like we were making up for a past day or if we were actually getting it for President's Day, but not everybody at the company is off that day.
we split between different holidays.
So, I know I'm up on Monday. But, again, if there's any Raiders news and I'm at home, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you guys already know.
Just depending on what your favorite holiday is.
I don't know if I'm going to celebrate President's Day. Rebel, kill, Rebel 69, Falcon, set, hut. Did you like the video we did? So, if you didn't see, the only way that Rebel is saying this in my thought is, if anybody doesn't follow our Chat Sports Instagram account, social media accounts, we've actually been doing, I think, an incredible job over the last year and a half of showing kind of like the behind the scenes of what Chat Sports is like on a daily basis. So the other day, we had our camera set up, and Trace, he was the one that kind of set this whole thing up. And it was basically like, what is your call? Like, if you were a quarterback, what was your call? Mine was like, 2K Kubiak. Klint on 2-on-2, Mendoza, set, go. Like, that was mine. So for Rebel, it would be kill, Rebel, 69 Falcon, set, hut.
Pretty good.
Not bad, huh, Reb? Also, not bad. Our Sin City Drinking Team tees. Unbelievable. If you need some gear for St. Patty's Day.
And our boss told me just now, he just messaged me, he's extending the merch deal until next week. So this might be one of your last opportunities. Spend $50. You get $10 off any set of shirts through the store. So the Sin City Drinking Team, the Wear Kubiak t-shirts. If you want to go and get the Raiders Report Mendoza t-shirts, those are also available.
We got them. We got all sorts of stuff. I actually just sent some swag to Ron, and Ron told me that he loved the Raiders Report hoodie that he ended up getting. At the end of the day, if you support us, you want to, keep on showing love to the Raiders Report, because I do think if you were to wear this shirt and somebody were to see you, I guarantee you this, if they're a watcher of this show, they're going to go up to you and they're going to be like, you know what, man, you're a Raiders Report watcher, talk it up, chop it up.
But I will say this.
Super cool.
I will say this. I know St. Patrick's Day, I don't know how big it is in different areas of the country, different, whatever. Our Broncos channel has already sold 10 of their St. Patrick's Day t-shirts. Raiders Report has not sold 10.
Yeah, I made a deal. I said if we sell more shirts than everybody, I would do a boot to start this show. Obviously, I didn't start this show with a boot for a reason, but at the end of the day,
I'm just going to say, are we going to let the Broncos channel beat us? That's all I'll say. Sam and Moose are laughing at us right now in the bullpen. That's all I'll say, that our Broncos channel is talking a lot of shit.
I mean, that's just Sam. We say F Sam for a reason. To me, I want y'all to get something that you like to wear. I also want you to get something that supports us. But also at the same time, I never know what the hell to wear on St. Patrick's Day. I'm like, I never have anything green. So if you need some new merch, we got all sorts of merch. All those links for y'all are also going to be down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Lord Cameron Abbott, I just saw you in the building, and it took a little while, but what do you think? I just got it in. My Lord Cameron Abbott jersey. What's going on? That wasn't the only jersey that I got. I actually got a bunch of other jerseys. So if I see the other people are here today, I will show you those jerseys, but I got a bunch of them.
Foxhound Night, that just seems like you're making up excuses. You know what? If I had a dad, you know what he would say? Excuses are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's clearly a clover. I don't know what else that possibly could be. It's a clover. I wish we could put the Raiders shield on there, but obviously I don't really want to get sued. So we got 905 people here in the building. I want to get through the Super Chats, and then I want to go into the show just around all the news. I kind of want to break it down a little bit deeper and get into why I think the Raiders ultimately requested to interview Aubrey Pleasant and why I think that he could be the next defensive coordinator of the Silver and Black. Comrade G, shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for supporting this program. Mo, what's going on, Mo? I remember Brady said he didn't want to throw a rookie quarterback and should have a veteran to learn under and start. Do you think it will happen with Mendoza? I mean, it absolutely can happen. It's not what I personally would do. The only way that I am not going to put Fernando Mendoza out there under center is if, A, I really truly think that he's not ready, but I personally don't see that with Mendoza. The other only way that I'm not going to do it is if the offensive line isn't good enough to put Mendoza out there. But, again, like I don't know how us as an organization can sit there with all the money that we have, and, like, I look at it as I got $100, right? I got $100, and I'm going to a food court. And all of the food is, recently priced. Let's say it's like $2, $3, $5. Sure, there's probably going to be some things that are $20 and $30. But if I leave hungry, it's my own fault. If the Raiders don't address their offensive line, and if they don't go out and spend, like, honestly, the way that I would spend the money if I was the Silver and Black, I would spend big on 2 to 3 players. I'm saying $50 million out of that 100 that we have right now. But you know what? We're going to get more money. And we will end up getting more money from contract restructures, from cutting guys. I mean, if we trade Max, you get $30 million. And, I mean, the more and more shit that I'm hearing, the more and more I'm starting to think that, yeah, Max isn't going to be a part of this team this season. You can get mad at me for saying that. You can not get mad at me for saying that. But I was on, like, a week and a half ago, I was on the Max isn't going to get traded. Now I do think that it's truly a coin flip. But you guys know I'm a big where there's smoke, there's fire guy. But to me, if I'm looking at spending money, I'm going to spend big on 2 to 3 players, and they're going to be studs. It's one guy on the offensive line, one guy on the defensive line, and then I would probably spend another big amount of money on a guy like Alec Pierce to help out Mendoza. Then when you look at all the rest of it, I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to spend like smart, where can we find more Jeremy Chins, where he's a good player. He's not like a top-rated player, but like a 2-year, $16 million deal, $8 million. Like, you go out, can you find another Eric Stokes? Finding really key players like that is how you build solid teams. What I don't want is for us to throw money at a guy like Devin White, throw money at a guy like Alex Kappa. Like, those types of deals aren't going to work. So I don't want to waste any money. What up, Comrade G?
I will say this guy who does a ton of like data points for the NFL put out a list of simple restructures and how much each team could save.
Yep.
He says the Raiders can save with pretty easy restructures and extensions around $53 million. So you can add easily $53 million to your open cap space that you have right now.
I mean, that would be interesting. I don't know who exactly off the top of my head they would restructure, because they're not going to restructure Max because he's not going to allow it. Promise you that. You might be able to restructure Colton Miller, but you also just gave him a brand new deal, so I don't know if that one's going to make sense. Like, to me, the money that I'm waiting to see is the Christian Wilkins money. Like, the Christian Wilkins story it's amazing how much lack of information there is truly out there, because the Raiders were giving him $27 million a year, and then they ended up cutting him. And, there's still, like, no information out there on him. Like, I was just thinking about it the other day. I was looking at some of the top free agents out there on the market. Nobody's even talking about Christian Wilkins. Like,
no one.
Is it that bad? Because, again, what I was told, it was such a bad story that you're like, you can't go public with it. And there's no doubt that Wilkins is a talented player. So when nothing's coming out, makes you think, no doubt about it.
You can restructure Colton Miller and save $12.4 million. Adam Butler, you can restructure and save around $2 million.
Yeah.
AJ Cole, $2.4 million with the restructure. And then besides that, it's cutting Geno Smith. You save $8 million.
Yep.
And
like, I filmed the show today. You guys will see it over the weekend about some Raiders cut candidates.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, if we do the cuts that we did that I talk about in that video, you're saving probably about $16 million. And that's just based off the players that I talked about. But You're not restructuring Max's contract. I promise you. He will not allow it. Max, I think, is focused on Max this year, whether we like to say that or not. I personally don't think a franchise player should be acting the way that Max has acted here over the past week. Comrade, forget to add a message to my previous super. It's all good, man. Friday happy hour, that shit's going to happen. Problem is, we haven't even started yet. Appreciate the grind, bro. You are my main source of Raider Nation news. Gonna cop a shirt, too. I would love for people to get our gear. And again, I want the Raiders Report community to continue to grow because I do think that there's people here that watch the show every day that get to know each other down in the comments. And then, we were just in San Jose last Friday. And, man, I mean, there were so many awesome people there. But I think what I was most proud of at that event was how many people, not that, I know people obviously wanted to talk to Chuggs and I and hang out with us. But the amount of times, I'm just looking around and everybody was talking, everybody was having a conversation, and it was as if so many people knew each other for such a long time. That's why I want people to get Raiders Report gear, because I think if you go to a Raiders game and you're rocking Raiders Report gear, I'm telling you right now, people are going to come up to you and be like, oh, dude, who are you? I'm so-and-so, and then you get to meet some people, and at the end of the day, I want Raider Nation to continue to grow, because I know when I started doing this show, I feel like fan base was kind of split. And maybe it's just me in my mind. I feel like we're doing a good job bringing the fan base together. More likely we get both Rams first this year or both Dallas first for Max. You're not going to get both Rams first because that pick at 13 and pick 29, I don't see Los Angeles giving up both of those first-round picks because pick 13, think about the value, right? Pick 13 to pick 29, the value there, I mean, it's such a big difference. I know they're both labeled as first-round picks, but I really do not think that you would get both.
Also, the Dallas one, I think, is more likely one because, like you said,
they also have picks.
It would be one this year, one next year.
Correct.
For Dallas.
And then they would still have, I believe, a first-round pick this year.
No, I think they're.
Oh, no, because they gave it to go get Quinnen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was thinking they got it with Micah, and then I think they sent it when they went to go get Quinnen Williams. But I personally think that, the Dallas Cowboys, though I think the Rams are the number one team in the NFL to trade for Max Crosby based on some of the things that I've heard over the last 24 hours.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, again, I don't know if you guys saw the video that I did yesterday, but I put out a video around Max. I talked about certain things, and, Max and I like to believe that we've had a good relationship. I don't know if that relationship is still going on. I'm going to be very clear with y'all. So, that to me is a little bit worrisome. And then on top of all of that, I heard some stuff about Max with the Rams. I am a big believer that, timing is everything. And then I wake up this morning, and what do I see? Max Crosby invites Jared Verse onto his podcast for The Rush. That's Rams defensive end. For those of you that do not know, Jared Verse, I know people that are close to Verse. Verse went to Central Columbia High School. It is literally the high school right next to Danville, Pennsylvania. I grew up in a little town, again, called Bloomsburg, Riverside, Danville. I bounced around. My parents were a little bit divorced, and I lived in this area. If you ask Jared Verse where Sherwood Village is, it's right next door to Central Columbia. And I'm just telling you this right now. There is a lot of chatter about Max going to the Rams right now in the background. And I know Max can say he's focused on football, and I actually think it's the right answer that Max should give. But Max also could say, hey, I want to be a Raider. And he hasn't done that. And, you go back and you watch the interview, because I said yesterday that Brock Bowers wasn't at the press conference for Klint Kubiak, and he was at the press conference. You think about your top players in that organization. They were at the Klint Kubiak press conference. And I know Max was there for his cup of coffee. And Max is in there working out, and he's doing his thing. But I also was like, bro, you're the face of the franchise, or you're supposed to be. You should be there for the Klint Kubiak press conference. I've been watching the show Traders. I don't know if any of y'all watch the show Traders. But what I'm looking at right now, who's the guy that just got named a new trader?
You've been tinking.
I've been tinking. Dude, she's that's funny. I always say, to Alex, I'm like, I think she kind of has the facial profile of Alex, but she's got the craziest accent of all time.
I know who you're talking about.
My point is, the way that Axe has been moving, it looks like he's been a faithful, and now all of a sudden he's a traitor.
He's a traitor.
And it's like that one guy who's the new traitor now. In my mind, I feel like this Max Crosby situation is so much like the Devontae Adams situation, where we're hearing one thing, but there's so much shit going on in the background. And I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen. But coming up here today on the Raiders Report, we are going to get into some Raiders coaching news
also
that we need to discuss.
B. Butters makes a good point. Did you see Crosby shared something from Devontae Adams, obviously former teammates? Could Adams be one of the main reasons?
Adams is recruiting Max Crosby to the Rams. I'm telling you right now, he is. Based on some information that I've heard, Max wants to stay in the West Coast because he wants to be close to his home and his family. And the Rams are a team that have always been willing to wheel and deal. The Rams also know that they have some big-time contracts coming up, like a Puka Nacua, right? They got to be able to get him down. And when you look at Max's deal, it's actually you can work with it very, very easily if you're trying to push. So, again, like I'm not sitting up here saying this is the news, but one of the things that was discussed to me was if the Rams want to convince Matthew Stafford to give it one more year, how can they do that? Devontae's trying to recruit. And, again, like when I hear some shit like that, there's a reason why I put it in the trade video that I did yesterday where I featured a Rams trade with Max Crosby and Byron Young. Go check it out. And then you're telling me all of a sudden Jared Verse is popping up on the pod. And then my interactions with Max over the past 24, 48 hours, like, again, Max, like I've always been in your corner, and you and I have had conversations before about, I'm just trying to do my job. So when I ask you a question, I'm not, you don't obviously have to answer it, but when you do what you did, that's going to make me be like, man, like that's weird to me because now all of a sudden it's changing up. And maybe he's truly trying to block out everybody from his life, but and maybe this is the naive part of what I thought. A lot of times I'm a believer in, like, if we're good, like, we're good. And, like, I believe people, I trust people, but when people's actions change, it does. It makes me start to wonder. And I'm going to be real, man. Like, if you were to ask me, like, right now, do I think Max Crosby is a Raider to start this season? I think it is a true coin flip. And that kills me to say it because I want the Raiders to win with Max. But I also know that if he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild, because he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. He wants to win, and he wants to win right now. As much as I can sit here and say I want the Raiders to be able to win football games, I hate to break it to you, I would, if I was a betting man, I would say the Rams probably have a better shot to win than the Raiders do next season. Whether we like that or not, but it's probably the truth. So, all right, y'all, here's what we're going to do. We're going to be breaking down some of the Raiders, some of the rumors. We got over 1,500 people here in the building. Oh, shit, my computer is not charging. Hang on. My computer almost died. That would have been something. We're going to go through some more supers. We're going to go through all the questions. Reminder, we are doing a duck race, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. And I'm here to happy hour. I'm here to party. I got all my shots. I got all my drinking stuff ready to rock and roll, but I also know this. If you guys aren't down to get after it, believe me, you're not going to upset me. Yes, we always plan shows, but this is a two-way street. I'll party when you guys are ready to party. I show up every single day because you guys show up every single day. And once the questions stop flowing, well, then I'll get my weekend rocking and rolling here. But what I really, really want to do, answer questions, hang out with y'all, because as soon as this show ends, it's my weekend. And I love to be able to get my weekend started off the right way. So coming up here, we're going to get into the Raiders coaching news that's happened here over the last 2 hours. And I'm also going to tell you why I could see the Raiders going out and hiring Aubrey Pleasant to be their defensive coordinator. Let me get a sip. Let me get a sip. You ready? You ready? No. Nope. If you want to, like, put it up, like, right before we talk about it, that's fine. Cool. Sounds good. All right, y'all. Let's break it on down here on the Raiders Report. Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, we have tons of Raiders coaching news that you need to see around the OC, around the DC, and around the offensive line run game coordinator. But also, I'm going to tell you why I could see the Raiders hiring Aubrey Pleasant to be the next defensive coordinator of the Silver and Black. If you did not see the news that ended up going down, Ian Rappaport reported Rams assistant head coach and pass game coordinator, it's defensive pass game coordinator, by the way, Aubrey Pleasant has been requested to interview for the Raiders DC job and will be meeting with them today, source said. The reason why I want you to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications is because I know I'm not the only one right now. When I do this show, I always try to put myself in y'all's shoes. I'm a Raider fan just like all of y'all. And the number one thing that I want to hear about is OC and DC news. Because raise your hand if you're sick and tired of all the Max Crosby trade rumors. And I apologize when I talk about them. But damn it, when news comes out or things that are out there, I feel like I got to talk about them. But there's a reason why we're the number one Raiders YouTube channel on the planet, and we've been the number one channel on the planet for the last 8 years. It's because nobody is going to outwork us. So if you want commitment to excellence, I'm going to bring it. If you don't know who Aubrey Pleasant is, he has been the assistant head coach and pass game coordinator with the Rams since 2024. He has worked under some really good defensive-minded coaches like Chris Shula, Raheem Morris. Now, I know Morris was not a good head coach, but Raheem Morris is a good defensive coach. Chris Shula, good defensive coach. Then you look at Sean McVay. Sean McVay, if you come from the Sean McVay tree, I'm going to be really excited. And often when I talk about the McVay tree, sometimes people hit me with, well, not all those other coaches have had success. You know where he's had a lot of success? A lot of his defensive coaches. Sean McVay guys have turned out to be really, really good defensive coordinators, and it makes me wonder because do y'all remember when Klint Kubiak at his press conference said that Mike McDonald challenged him like on a daily basis, asking him defensive questions? Because I think that that's important quality to not only think about it from an offensive standpoint, but a defensive standpoint. And I don't know if Sean McVay does that, but I could 100% see McVay doing that just because of how great all of his coaches are. But this guy's been coaching in the NFL since 2013. So what I want to know from you is this. I want you to grade the interview. Now, if you do not know, the Raiders are going to interview Pleasant today. So they're going to interview him today. And technically, if they wanted to hire him to be the next defensive coordinator, they could do it, right? Like if they wanted to hire him, they could hire him. So grade the interview by the Raiders. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. My answer is going to be coming up here right after this YouTube ad break. This is a B interview for the Silver and Black, and I am liking this interview. Like, I don't want that to come off as me not being through the moon, but I am a tough grader. Like an A, Jim Schwartz. A, Sean McDermott. Based on all the reports that are out there, doesn't sound like Sean McDermott's going to be even an option, and it also, Jim Schwartz is still under contract technically with the Cleveland Browns, but I don't want y'all to think that I don't think that that's a good interview, that I don't think that it would be a good hire, because that's super far from the truth. And I will prove it to you today that I believe that Aubrey Pleasant is a really good interview for the Las Vegas Raiders. So Klint Kubiak, John Spytek, Tom Brady, I see what you're doing. And coming up here on today's show, I'm going to tell you why I think the Raiders are interviewing Pleasant. And ultimately, why I think the Raiders could ultimately hire Aubrey Pleasant to be the next offensive coordinator of the Silver and Black. Before I get into that, though, huge shout out to today's sponsor, Panda Sups. I actually, right now, I'm chugging some of their nootropics to stay super, super locked in. And if you don't know, Panda Sups is owned and operated by a die-hard Raiders fan, and he's hooking y'all up with 26% off at pandasups.com. And if you want, take advantage with code Kubiak, because we're Kubiak. Now, typically, I know it's not that big of a difference, but hey, if I told you could get an extra 1 inch or 1% bigger, would you do it? Every guy here is going, yeah, shit, man, I'd probably do it. Usually, we got 25% off. We got 26% off. It's year 2026 at pandasups.com. They just launched their new strawberry ice cream crumble. I have not tried it yet, but if I had to guess, based on all the other protein that I've had from Panda, what it reminds me of and what I think it's going to taste like is when you heard the ice cream truck rolling in your neighborhood as a kid. And I used to go out there. I used to either get the SpongeBob or I used to get the strawberry ice cream crumble. I'm usually a chocolate guy, but on a hot summer day, this, I guarantee you, will be a summer purchase for me, and I'm putting it in my Ninja Creamy. If you also want to see some of the other new products that Panda's got, The burn is one that I've heard is like unbelievable to help you really just kind of melt away some of that fat. I love the aminos just because when I do have drinks on this show, I want to make sure that I can wake up the next morning and bounce back ASAP Rocky. If you're trying to get into better shape, and if you're trying to be the best version of yourself and support a Raiders fan, pandasups.com, code Kubiak for 26% off. So here to me is why I believe the Raiders are interviewing Pleasant, and ultimately why I think that he could be the next defensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders. You got to look at the Sean McVay ties. Let's first think about how many Sean McVay guys the Raiders were looking at. I know that they never brought him in for an interview, but there were a lot of reports that Chris Shula was somebody on the Raiders' mind. You look at Nate Shieldhouse. You look at Mike LaFleur. Like, those were coaches that 100% the Raiders were interested in. For Pleasant, he worked with McVay from 2013 to 2016 in Washington. 2013, he was an offense assistant and a defense quality coach from 2014 to 2016. So that means Sean McVay said, you know what? I want to bring Aubrey Pleasant with me to the Rams. And not only did he bring Aubrey Pleasant with him here in Washington, brought him with the Rams at first in 2017 when McVay first got hired as the Rams cornerback coach. Then Pleasant ended up leaving. I believe he ended up going to Detroit. And then what happened? He ended up getting let go from that job. And then McVay said, hey, I want to bring this guy back. So that's three different instances where Sean McVay, I would say the number one head coach in the National Football League, said, I want Aubrey Pleasant a part of my staff. The other really important thing about Pleasant, he comes with that assistant head coach title. And I don't think that y'all should scoff at that, because if we're looking at Klint Kubiak, first-time head coach, what I think would be really important, if you can't get that older, minded defensive coordinator, can you bring in people that got assistant head coach experience, like an Aubrey Pleasant, like a Mike McCoy? Let's go to the next reason here why I think Pleasant could end up getting the job. He's got Shanahan ties. And Shanahan ties are important because Kubiak has Shanahan ties. And he worked with Kyle Shanahan in 2013 when Kyle Shanahan was the OC. Pleasant also was the offensive assistant in 2013 with Shanahan. Klint Kubiak also has those Shanahan ties. And the reason why I bring that up is I know this type of offense that Kubiak runs, it's very similar to the type of offense that Shanahan runs. So for me, I look at what Aubrey Pleasant could potentially bring to the table. And since Klint Kubiak, like, what I honestly think Kubiak's going to do is something very similar to what Mike McDonald did, where he's going to challenge his defensive guys, just like he wants his defensive guys to challenge him. So when you've worked around a similar system and you've worked around guys that have had a lot of success, that makes it easier for you to communicate. The final reason, he's a Michigan man. And I'm always going to bring up Michigan. I don't think I've ever talked about Michigan more since the Raiders hired John Spytek and Tom Brady. But Tom Brady and John Spytek, this does matter to them. And it matters to them because they believe that Michigan knows how to properly teach and knows how to properly get the most out of their football players. And Pleasant was a Michigan defensive grad assistant in 2011. He was an assistant DB coach in 2012. And since that John Spytek, Tom Brady ties, again, to me, this is probably just a little bit of a cherry on top. But when you have a GM that literally has a book called The Michigan Man, and I don't know if y'all saw the Joe Judge press conference thing at Ole Miss, I would never let my son ever play for a man like Joe Judge based on what he said about players shouldn't have to deal with their kids. You should make your wife do that. When you know that there's leaders out there, and I would never want my kid to play for a guy like that. The reason why that I bring that up, that type of shit I don't really think would happen as much in Michigan. Now, I get it, Sharon Moore, that was a bad situation this past season. No doubt about it. But I do believe in my heart of hearts that Tom Brady and John Spytek want to build a program, because today's age and age in the NFL and professional sports, you got so many people that are me guys. To get a rebuild going, you need team guys. You know when JPJ said, hey, I'm going to play for the team on the front to bless the name on the back? I want more guys like that. And I do think when you come from the University of Michigan, you're going to be instilled in what it means to be a part of a legendary program. So here's going to be a question for you, because as it stands right now, the only two defensive coordinators that the Raiders have requested to interview are Rob Leonard and Aubrey Pleasant. If you had to pick right now, which DC would you roll with for the silver and black? Type RL for Rob Leonard. Type AP for Aubrey Pleasant. My answer is going to be coming up here after this YouTube ad break. This might surprise you. I'm going to type my AP. I see what the live poll is right now. I see what a lot of the comments are. And I want people to understand. Y'all know how much I love. You guys know how much I love Rob Leonard. No doubt about it. I would rather have Aubrey Pleasant be our defensive coordinator than Rob Leonard. And I say that for two big reasons. One, Pleasant to me is more qualified for the position when you look at resume and you know I'm a Sean McVay guy. When Sean McVay is bringing you back 3 different times to be a part of his staff, that is like, I think, one of the biggest compliments that you can get. The fact that he's worked underneath Sean McVay, and a lot of his defensive coaches have gone on to be very good coaches, that's important. The other part, and maybe I'm going to be a little bit, I don't know what the right word is. I want the most that I can get. And I feel like 2026 is our year. If we could keep Rob Leonard as the defensive line coach, and if you could give him an upgrade, you give him a pay raise, like, to me, that's outstanding. The best defensive staff that we could potentially have is if you brought in Aubrey Pleasant and then you kept Rob Leonard as a defensive line coach. Yeah, there's probably a chance that we end up losing Rob, and I don't want to lose Rob, no doubt about it. But I will say this. I would be happier if the Raiders hired Aubrey Pleasant than Rob Leonard. So I know all y'all know how much I love Rob, but I hope that that also speaks and shows you how excited I was about this Aubrey Pleasant interview. So as it stands right now, the 3 interviews that the Raiders have out there, you got Rob Leonard, your defensive line coach for D.C., Aubrey Pleasant, the assistant head coach for the D.C. job, and then Frisman Jackson, the Seahawks wide receiver coach for the offensive coordinator job. But here's also the cool part. Last up, we got even more Raiders coaching news to discuss because there's been 2 things that have happened since I have decided to go, not since I've gone live, like really right before I went live. And if you're not watching this video live, I'm live on the Raiders Report. It's happy hour, baby. So Ian Rappaport said this. Seahawks defensive pass game specialist and DB coach Karl Scott has been in the mix for the defensive coordinator jobs, including Arizona, is planning to remain in Seattle. This is a big win for the Seahawks. And 2 things here it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder, could he get a promotion in Seattle? Could Aiden Dirty come over here with us? I personally think he's staying in Seattle. He's probably going to remain that DB coach. But Karl Scott was a name that I brought up, I'm going to say 3 weeks to a month ago on this show about, hey, this is a name to watch out for if Klint Kubiak ends up getting hired to be the next Raiders head coach. Karl Scott's been with Seattle from 2022 to 2025, but he had Klint Kubiak ties when Kubiak was the OC in Minnesota back in 2021. So for Karl Scott to stay there, it just makes me wonder, could other defensive guys stay in Seattle underneath Mike Macdonald? More news coming in here. This one's from Fowler. The Raiders requested Seahawks assistant Justin Otten for run game coordinator, but Seattle blocked the request per sources. Otten, the Seahawks run game specialist assistant O-line, is one of 4 in-house candidates for Seattle's OC job. So do you remember when Seattle requested to interview Jake Peetz, Andrew Janocko, Justin Otten, and Mac Brown? When I look at this, I think of a multitude of different things. One, this tells me the Raiders were interested in Justin Otten for the run game coordinator job, not OC, which makes me think Andrew Janocko, Jake Peetz, the top 2 people that I thought the Raiders would bring in for their OC, I still think that those are going to be the guys. I think Peetz is going to take the Seahawks job, and I think Janocko is going to take the Raiders job. If Janocko takes the Seahawks job, well, then I think we're going to get Jake Peetz over here with us with the silver and black. If you're wondering why can the Seahawks block, it's because it's a lateral move. Any lateral move in the NFL, you can block. Like last year, the Raiders, I believe that they ended up blocking somebody because they wanted to hire Patrick Graham for their defensive coordinator, and the Raiders ended up blocking it. I couldn't remember. Was it the Jags last year? I think you're right. But the Raiders, they ended up blocking it, which, again, you're allowed to do. The other thing, though, that I mentioned, and I put out a video probably 2-3 days ago about Raiders coaching predictions, I said that I believed Rick Dennison would be the Raiders' offensive line coach. So because the Raiders brought in Otten for run game coordinator, not O-line coach, I think that Otten's going to stay in Seattle, and I believe the Raiders are going to get Rick Dennison to be their O-line or also run game coordinator. More news coming in here. Adam Schefter, Patriots quarterback coach Ashton Grant, has decided to remain in New England rather than discuss the vacant offensive coordinator job with the Las Vegas Raiders. Y'all know that Drake May's been my number one quarterback in the 2024 NFL draft way before the draft ever even happened. If you don't believe me, go check out the videos. But, let's be real here, y'all. Did we really think that somebody that works underneath Josh McDaniels was going to come to the Las Vegas Raiders? In the same exact breath, do we really want somebody who's worked underneath Josh McDaniels to be the offensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders? I know sometimes it hurts getting turned down, but I feel like this is getting turned down with somebody that I didn't even really want to go on a date with to begin with. Before we head on out of here, though, if you haven't already gotten your hands on some St. Patrick's merch, hey, chatsports.com/LVGreen. That link's down in the comments. It's going to be in the description of today's video. And at the end of the day, I want people to rock all of our gear because, of course, it helps our company grow. I also want people to see the Sin City Drinking Team shirt and be like, hell yeah, man, I'll watch the Raiders report too. Also, I never have anything to wear on St. Patty's Day. So this is a little bit of green. It's a little bit of Raiders report. It's a little bit of the Raiders mixed up in one. Sounds like a hell of a St. Patrick's Day party to me. If you don't follow me on social media, Mitchell Renz 365. I'm literally everywhere there. Venmo, Cameo, Twitter, everywhere. If it's Mitchell Renz 365, I'm going to be there. Shout out to all y'all that are pulled up here on the program. And again, if you're not watching this live, I'm live here on the Raiders Report for a little Friday happy hour. Suave Max. Do you play for the nation or Max? Either way, cool. Just don't go out like Devontae because the nation shields Raiders and Raiders alone. What legacy do you want? Again, man, I'm not trying to speak for Max because at the end of the day, Max is a Raider right now, okay? Max is a Raider right now. And I had this conversation with somebody yesterday that I feel, and I'm not trying to say I'm a parent in this situation, but I used to always remember my dad. He'd sit down with me and he'd be like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. And that's really the best way that I can kind of phrase how this whole Max Crosby situation is going on, where I'm like, I'm not mad how he's handling it because I do think the Raiders are partially responsible. I also think Max Crosby is responsible, but I'm disappointed that somebody that we consider the face of the franchise is behaving in this matter, and he can say that all he wants to focus on is football and he doesn't want all this other stuff. But then I would say, well, then stop doing all these interviews. And I get it. He's doing all the interviews. He wants to get his name out there. But I'm also kind of like, I think that he likes the attention. And there's nothing wrong with the attention, right? I like attention. It's why I'm here every single day. It's why I make videos. I think a lot of us deep down do like attention when we're feeling like, we're best at our craft. But I don't understand how the reason why Max Crosby is paid the way that he's paid is he's a phenomenal player. But you've been the number one priority for a football organization that has needed a quarterback for multiple off seasons. And I think the Raiders have always done what has been best for Max Crosby in terms of the dollar bills, which, again, part of that relationship. The other aspect of it is if Max was truly this still mad about how the end of that season went down, I would tell him, look in the mirror, and if you still think that it's deserving to be mad, then I know that you don't want to be a part of this organization. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Because, yes, getting sat down those last two games probably was very frustrating for a player that always feels like, hey, man, if I'm healthy enough, I want to go out there and I want to play. And to be clear, I have heard from some people that Max and Alex Guerrero, Tom Brady's right-hand man, are not seeing eye to eye. But Guerrero's thing has always been about extending players' careers. It's always been about that. And Max, when he got surgery, that surgery ended up being more than it was originally thought. It was supposed to be a 3 to 4 week injury. It was reported by Ian Rappaport it's going to be close to a 3 to 4 month injury. Max on his podcast said that he's going to be back in June. So, I don't know how Max could still be mad at that situation when now we're sitting here with the number one overall pick, with Klint Kubiak, with clearly us moving in the right direction. You just signed a contract extension, and on top of that, them resting you proved to be the smarter move to extend you for the long haul. If Max thinks he's only got 2-3 years left, then maybe he does want to go elsewhere. But if I'm the Raiders, I just signed you and you got 4 years left. I'm trying to make sure that 29-year-old Max Crosby, who has had so many knee injuries, is going to be the Max Crosby that we want for the next 4 seasons. So, yeah, it's frustrating getting sat down those final 2 games. But at the same time, I'm not trying to sound like a parent. How many times have you been sitting there when you were a kid? Like, again, I can't think of an exact moment right now. But when I was a kid, there's so many instances where I'd get pissed off at my mom. I'd get pissed off at my dad. And I'd sit there and I'd be like, oh, man, this and that. And now I sit here as an adult and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see why they did that. Okay, yeah, I see why they did that. Like, I'm not still mad about something that happened a long time ago. And again, long time ago. But I think when you're sitting here now, and if Max Crosby can't stand 10 toes down and see what the Raiders did is not only best for the Raiders, but best for Max Crosby, then I don't think that he wants to be a part of this organization. And it sucks to say it, but that's how I feel in my heart of hearts. But to your point, I think Max has got to be careful because, again, I've made a lot of videos in my day. And I know Max wants to be very well liked and he wants to be very well received. And I want him to have a career after football. He's tiptoeing a line right now where I think if you were to ask Raiders fans a month ago, do you want the Raiders to trade Max Crosby? I bet you 95% of those fans say no. I think if we were to ask fans right now, do you want the Raiders to trade Max Crosby? I bet you it's really close to 50-50 because there's a lot of fans that are sick of the drama, and we don't need any distractions. Whether Max likes it, whether the Raiders like it, right now it's a distraction. So let's get a poll. But again, we're not just saying trade him for the hell of it. Let's say you get 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. Because I think if I would have told you all, hey, we're going to get 2 first-round picks for Max a month ago, all of y'all would be like, no, I'm not trading Max. Would you trade Max Crosby for 2 first-round picks? I guarantee you it's way more split now than what it was a month ago. And it's not because we don't love Max. I think us as Raider fans know how loyal we are. And at the end of the day, we want our players. We want our coaches. We want Mark Davis, our organization, Tom Brady, John Spytek, to be just as loyal as us. So to me, if I feel like I've done everything in my power to say, hey, I support Max. Hey, I support 98. Hey, I support the Condor. And certain things have happened the way that certain things have happened, I'm allowed to feel some type of way. And I want to be very clear. Based on some things that have happened just in the last 48 to 72 hours between me and Crosby, I do feel a lot different now than I did before because, again, relationships are important, and it's a two-way street. And I want play like I don't care how popular you get. I don't care how big you get. I promise all y'all out there, if I ever get rich and famous, I'm never going to treat y'all any different because that's not how I was brought up. It's not how I was raised. I was brought up to, I promise you this, I'm going to give you time of the day. I'm going to answer your DMs. When I get free time, I'm going to do it because I know at the end of the day, y'all are a big reason why I am the way that I am. And I'm not saying that we're a big reason why Max is the way that he is, but I do know this. Max is a hell of a football player. But there's a reason why Max has always been a top priority, and I do think that's because the organization's not dumb. And Mark Davis knows dollars and cents, and he knows the importance of Max Crosby to this fan base. So, like, I'm kind of going on a little bit of a rant here. Oh, this is a hell of a stat. Draft stat of the day. The Rams haven't used a first-round pick on a defensive back since 2006. I feel like there's a lot of Rams first-round pick shit going around right now.
Is it something that we should know, that 2006 first-round pick?
A streak that is 8 years longer than any other team in the NFL with 2 first-round picks, a need for corners. This feels like a logical year. No, Field doesn't say who it was. Who would have been that corner?
Any guess?
Any guesses?
I'm going to look it up right now. Any guesses on who that?
But, I mean, look at this poll right now. Would you trade Max Crosby for 2 first-round picks? 55% of the votes say yes.
Yeah.
There's no chance that poll would have said that. And the only reason why that poll says that is because of the actions of Max Crosby. You can't tell me otherwise. And I don't really think Max understands the line. And maybe he doesn't care. And again, if Max doesn't care, then I know he doesn't want to be a part of this organization. But I do think Max wants to be a Raider. And I know Max wants to win with the Raiders. But he could say he wants to focus on football. But again, man, you're the face of the franchise. I don't think you get paid the way that you do, and I don't think that you are the face of the franchise and you can just act a certain way. I think if you're the face, you got to act like the face. That's why you get paid the big bucks. Like, I hate saying that, but it's the truth, man. I don't want Max traded, but what do you think? Max to the Ravens for 2 first-rounders and Linderbaum. I mean, the Ravens would never do that. Like, Tyler Linderbaum's a free agent, so if they bring him back, like, if you want Linderbaum, I'd say it's 1 first-round pick and Tyler Linderbaum. And maybe you probably get like a third, probably like a 4th thrown in there. But, like, the days of, and the reason why I don't think we're going to get nearly as much is because I do think that there are people in Max's corner that are telling all of these people out there that, hey, I am okay with the idea of being traded. Again, man, I've covered the NFL for such a long time. When everybody is reporting one thing and a player is saying the other, it smells like the Devontae Adams situation all over again. And I always write down notes. I always take down all these things that happen in the offseason. And again, like, I hope Max is here. I think we all do. But if it looks a certain way and it smells a certain way, I think it could be that certain way. And I think it's just the way that it is. But would I do this trade? Yeah, in a heartbeat. With the Ravens? No. They're not going to do that trade. And again, Linderbaum's a free agent, but this would be if they bring him back and then 2 first-rounders, not a chance in hell. Would they do it? I would do it. John, Mitch, just tuned in. What, if any, news did I miss? So, Raiders requested to interview Aubrey Pleasant. That's the Rams' assistant head coach and defensive pass game coordinator. The Raiders were blocked. They requested to interview Justin Otten as a run game coordinator. He holds that at same position in Seattle. Seattle ended up blocking it, which tells me they weren't looking at him for OC, which also tells me I think the Raiders are looking at Jake Peets, Andrew Janocko for their offensive coordinator job. The Raiders requested to interview the Patriots quarterback coach, but apparently the quarterback coach from New England wasn't interested, which, again, I'm not even kind of upset about that one. Seahawks defensive backs coach Karl Scott, he's decided to stay in Seattle. I would say
the QB coach for the Patriots.
I said that one. Yep. I think that's it.
Justin Otten?
Yep.
Aubrey Pleasant?
Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Max has been doing some. Again, man, I'm not going to tell you what happened with Max and I. Max knows what happened, but again, when you're moved kind of in shady ways, I just don't like it. And Max will always be my guy. The Crosby family, like, I'll tell you this, even if Max gets traded, I will continue to support the Crosby Foundation because I think that he's doing good stuff. And I hope that the Crosby family knows that I will always have y'all's back, but I am also allowed to be upset when certain things are, done in my direction. Isaac, what position do you think Klint will prioritize next year instead of this year? Isaac, this is such a difficult question, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't know. We have so many holes in 2026, right? Like, where are you in, Isaac, are you married? Where are you going to take your wife next year for Valentine's Day? I don't know. I barely know where I'm going this year for Valentine's Day. I just know I got to be ready by a certain time on Saturday, and I know I got a gift card. That's all I know.
Ah.
There you go. There you go.
I'm giving my wife 3 free kiss coupons. She can redeem them whenever she wants.
Whenever she wants. No, I already got Alex. I mean, could you imagine? It's like 3 o'clock in the morning.
I have a kiss.
Thanks for the candy. Robert Jansen.
Hey, can you take your mouth tape off? I want to kiss you.
I did not realize you had mouth tape, which there has been times, so spoiler alert, Jeremy and I, we've slept in the same room many a times. On the trips that we've made throughout the years. There was only probably like one time that I remember that you were snoring. Now, the thing is, usually when we're doing these trips, we're always tired, we're exhausted, or we're banged up, so I don't hear it. This past trip, there was one night I didn't even notice it. I woke up, and I looked over, and I thought I saw something on your mouth, but I didn't really register.
What the fuck is that?
And then you're like, did I snore at all? Like with my mouth tape. Honestly, what it looked like is, you didn't watch Pokemon, did you?
No. Do you remember America's Got Talent, Mr. Tape Face?
No. See, your tape on your mouth looked like, I don't know if you guys know Brock from Pokemon, his eyes. That's what it looked like.
I know who you're talking. That's Ash's like best friend guy.
Yeah, he's the one that's got Onyx in the very, very beginning.
Oh yeah.
Robert, Max is not saying Raiders for life or trade me, keeping options open while not damaging his trade value. Smart and loyal.
This is why you watch the Raiders report. We just saved Yoda Jenkins' life.
What? Already did my Valentine Day.
He said, OMG, forgot tomorrow was Valentine's.
No chance, bro. Really? You? I mean, Robert, and I don't disagree. What Max is doing right now is best for Max Crosby. It is. You can't tell me that what Max is doing right now isn't what's best for Max Crosby. But maybe this is a selfish opinion of mine, right? When you're the face of the franchise, you don't really get to do what's best for you because the Raiders have prioritized you. The Raiders gave you that big-time extension, and they front-loaded that contract. Like, I don't know. I just don't like the way that Max is handling it because it does seem very much of, I was trying to get the most money out of the Raiders as humanly possible, and now I want out of the Raiders organization. That's how I look at it right now. And again, like to me, I don't like the way that things look and sound. Again, like I even watched the Klint Kubiak podcast where he's talking about Klint. And yes, he says all the positive things about Klint Kubiak. But like the body language, the way that he's talking about it, it was like, yeah, Klint Kubiak, good coach. He just doesn't look interested. And again, like that's my opinion. Maybe Max is super laid back, but I've also seen Crosby super fired up on that show. And again, go watch the Rush. If you look at the words, all the words are correct. And I feel like, like my wife, she always yells at me sometimes when I come home, and she's got all this energy. And I'm not saying that I'm like, dead when I get home, but when I do a live show, sometimes like I'm tired. I'm just like trying to relax, and I'm very laid back. Anybody that's ever met me in person, I'm a very laid back guy. But like, again, when you have this many eyeballs on you, your actions, your words are going to be that because, yes, Max Crosby's job is to play football. But the reason why the salary cap has gone up $200 million in the last 15 years, the reason why guys are making more money than ever before, it's an entertainment. It is. It's an entertainment. Your job is to play football, but you're making that amount of money because it's an entertainment. They also used to play football back in the 80s and 90s, back in the 70s. But television, media wasn't a thing like it is now. Guys are making money the way that they are because of the media, because of sponsors, because of gambling, betting. It's all tied in. It's an entertainment. Let's go. Mitch.
And I guarantee if you ask those guys, hey, would you rather make half of your contract and never talk to the media? Those guys would be like, no, I'll talk to the media.
Exactly. Like, would you guys rather make a 30-year contract but the games aren't on TV? Like,
it'd probably be less than that. It would be a fourth.
Yeah, it'd probably be. You're probably right. Like, you guys never have to talk to the media. The games won't be on television, but you're going to make a fourth of the money, a third of the money.
You get paid $55,000 a year.
No, that's not going to be the case. But like, you're right though, and the reason why they make the amount of money is because it's an entertainment. That's just how it is. Esco, Mitch, I would like to keep Max unless he doesn't want to be a Raider. I'll tell you this right now. If Max Crosby is traded, it's because Max wants to be traded. I don't think the Raiders want to trade him. I do really think that Klint Kubiak in this organization wants to keep him. And I really, really do.
The most telling thing from Klint Kubiak's press conference, to me at least, when he talked about Max, he said, oh, yep, want him to be a pillar of this team. Really love Max Crosby. When he talked about Fernando Mendoza, was like, oh, yeah, we're going to look into it. Not saying that he doesn't want Mendoza, but it's obvious that Kubiak wants Crosby here.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point. I also think the reason why he said that with Mendoza is like my example that I gave was if you're in Texas Hold'em and I got pocket aces. No matter what, I got pocket aces. I think no matter what, if Kubiak knows if I want Mendoza, he's mine. So instead of revealing my hand, I'm not going to do it. But I think that's one of the best points that I don't know if I've heard yet, and I completely agree. I also know that this guy's a crazy guy. Lord Cameron Abbott! Bang!
It's fun to stay at the LCA.
Mount Raidermore just came here to bang. Nobody is above the shield. But that being said, I think the year's draft is pretty weak. If we trade Max, we better get a top 12 pick and another first, or else it's a loss. Here's the thing, though. I would say the only team picking in the top 12, okay? Let's go 13 because the Rams are at 13. I think the Rams are a Super Bowl caliber team. There's not going to be an NFL team out there that trades for Max Crosby unless you think that you can win a Super Bowl. The Chiefs are in the top 10. We ain't trading Max to the Chiefs. And the Rams. I really don't think that you're going to get a first-round pick even in the teens. Like, I think it's going to be teams in the 20s because those are the teams that go, you know what? Here's our Super Bowl window. We're going to trade multiple first-round picks for a guy that's 29 years old coming off multiple knee surgeries that we think could help us get us over the hump. So, like, I know fans want that top 12 pick, but, like, that's just not going to happen in my book because Max wants to play for a winner. He wants to play for a contender, and he's going to want, like, I would say the only other team, also the Raiders, they just made it official with assistant head coach Mike McCoy. They just put out a press release. The other thing, I would say the Dallas Cowboys. And that's because Max has got a lot of family down here. I know a lot of Max's family.
Went to high school here.
Went to high school down here. I mean, he chose to come down to well, he was in Michigan.
Yeah, and then they came
down here to get him more eyeballs.
At
Colleyville?
Yeah, I think Colleyville Heritage maybe.
I think it was Colleyville. Yep. All right, so here's what we got going on here. We got a wheel. Whatever this lands on, I got to take a shot. It's Raiders Friday happy hour. Oh, boy. Oh, that's not what I wanted.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
That's the worst.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Tequila. Here we go, man. I was a little bit nervous about the 1800. Was a little bit nervous about the 1800. Does anybody wear a 2XL, by the way? Random question. Does anybody wear a 2XL? You know what we really got to get? We got to tell Brett to get limes. I mean, he's probably would hate that.
Or just lime juice.
Yeah, because
the limes would go back. Like, you'd have to get limes every week.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I could just steal them from my house. My wife, I swear she collects them. I'll come home and we'll just have like 40 limes.
Dude, I went to the store yesterday. Limes, 4 for $1. It was a great deal.
Oh, see, what's funny is Alex will not buy limes at like a normal store. Her and her mom, they only go to like those like Mexican supermarkets. Like we went to one the other day and I loved it because the pizza place next to it was called, it's like Pizza Patron. It was like,
oh yeah.
It was like the
I know
Hispanic,
Pizza Patron.
It's like the Hispanic Pizza Hut or whatever, Domino's. But like they'll go in there and limes there, I swear, they're like 5 cents.
I love to go to there's a restaurant. It's a chain called La Michoacana.
Hey, LCA to all y'all out there. Friday happy hour.
And then there's also a Rancho Supermarket. I live next to both those, 2 really good Mexican stores.
I mean, when I go in there, I mean, people look at me like that's probably one of the only grocery stores that I really try to stay close to, like Alex, like really close. Because if I'm just wandering around, people are like, why is this guy in here? What's going on here? The drinks that they get, like the Jamaica, the watermelon,
dude,
they're like the ones like in the big jugs. They just scoop it on out.
Bro, whenever I go there in the summer and I have a little bit of a tan, I'll go to like the butcher.
A little bit of a tan.
I'll go to the butcher and I'll like pick a number, and then they'll like call out my number. I'll like put my hand up, and they'll just full on speak Spanish to me and think like, oh, this dude, like, he's at a Mexican supermarket. He speaks Spanish. He's a little tan. And I'm just like, I speak English.
Like, this mustache, this tan, no. I will say.
Oh, yeah, it's Brian Folsom. It's Ranch 99 Supermarket. That's it.
Really?
Yeah, I live next to one of those and La Michoacana.
There was one spot that Alex took me to. We went into, like, one of those grocery stores. It was one of the best. What the hell is that sandwich called? Tortas. One of the best tortas. Don't do that. One of the best tortas that I've ever had. Unbelievable. In one of those supermarkets.
And Mitch loves tortas.
Keith Crago in the duck race. DeAndre Mallory, duck race. Jeremy Valve in the duck race. $20 Venmo. Right now you go home with $70 here on the Raiders Report. We're live. We're answering questions. And if you bang, we're having some drinks here on the program. Pies, hopefully I pronounced that right. Pies Tires LLC. Did y'all see the comments? James Harden said, Mac's favorite b-ball player, about loyalty to a franchise almost seemed like he was speaking for Max. No one's above the shield. I did not see James Harden's comments. I know you follow Harden from his days back with the Rockets, but I do know that Harden, like, that's Max's guy. Like, that's his number one NBA player. Those guys are very close. I know that he follows a lot of those guys, but also at the exact same time, no, I did not see it. But, again, like, I think in today's day and age with sports, and I think it's kind of sad because we were talking about it today, like load management in the NBA. Like, you got fans spending all this money to go watch their star players play.
Well,
dude, like, there's just so much.
It's screwed Coop because he set his schedule to do a Mavs watch party. And then the day of, they're like, oh, yeah, Cooper Flag and Luka not playing tonight. It's like, all right, well, the two. Imagine spending your money to go to a Raiders game this year, and then it's like Raiders-Broncos, and at the game right before, they're like, oh, actually, Bo Nix and Fernando Mendoza are both sitting out for load management.
I mean, I think the NBA is the worst product in all professional sports, and it's not close. I think I would much rather watch college basketball over the NBA, and it's not even close, man.
Shout out to USA All Day 150. Said he just bought 2 Sin City drinking shirts and a Kubiak hoodie.
Let's go.
Let's freaking go.
Oh, man.
Help us catch our Broncos channel.
I would love to be able to catch the Broncos channel. Oh, shit. When the hell did this happen?
John Rodriguez!
Bang! I was just looking at J.O.D. in the eyes when I banged.
Hell yeah, J.O.D.
Jody! Mitch, I'm 53, and seeing star/regular players come and go. People, you need to get it in your heads. The players are not about loyalty. It doesn't exist, and the owners and players know this. This is a job/business, so no players will ever be above the shield. Get used to it. And again, like, I'm a Raiders fan because of all of y'all, because of Raider Nation, way, way more than I am any player. And, oftentimes I've had agents say to me, like, there are players that don't want to come on your program because of how I talk. And unfortunately, I can understand that a lot of Raiders players might be disappointed in the way that I talk, but I'm also disappointed as a fan in the product that's been out there on the field. Like, I'm not going to kiss guys' asses because you play for the Raiders. I'm not going to kiss a guy's ass because you play in the NFL. Like, real talk. Like, I mean, if I meet you in person, I'm going to introduce myself. And it's funny to me how many players will say this, and then I'll meet certain guys, and they'll act the type of way. And I'll be like, well, I'm just doing my job, right? Like, I don't understand why it's not a two-way street. It's kind of like our interaction with Antonio Pierce at the Super Bowl, right? Like, it was a bad interaction. I'll be very honest. He was clearly did not like me. And I don't blame Antonio Pierce for not liking me, but, at the same time, like, I don't get why coaches, players can say, it's my job, it's my job, it's my job. But then us as fans or somebody that sits up here like I do and gives my opinion, why can't I say the exact same damn thing? It's my job to give you my honest opinion. Like, there's a lot of players out there that I know have my back. There's a lot of players out there that I know appreciate what I do. Here's the thing. Those are some of the best players on the Raiders. Like, I met Ashton Genty at the Super Bowl, and we didn't have a long exchange. I was trying to get him over, but I looked at Ashton. Ashton looked at me, and I'm like, hey, man, appreciate what you do. He gave me a knuckles. We were chopping it up for a little bit, and he was like, yeah, I know who you are. And I was trying to get his person to be like, hey, like, come on over here to the Raiders Report side. And, they were going, and again, to get a guy like Genty, they got NFL Network. They got all the big ones at those Super Bowl media rows. But, like, JPJ, his family, they've always been nice to me. Why? Because I think JPJ knows that he's a good player at heart. But you're not wrong, dude. But I actually think that this is the problem with sports right now. Like, it's all about me. And I get, like, guys want to get their money. It's all about me, 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 me. But I do really think the players that are truly the great ones are unselfish, put their team first. And when you do that, you end up being that best version of yourself. Like,
I know you're going to hate this trade idea. I just saw something come across my Twitter feed with Mike Garafolo saying, could the Eagles possibly trade for Max Crosby and send over a first and A.J. Brown?
Gross. Again, I have no interest in A.J. Brown because A.J. Brown is another player who's a selfish diva. Imagine winning a Super Bowl for a team. Imagine. And then being upset about the way you're being used. And I get it. You want to be used. You also just got a massive contract and you won a Super Bowl and you're not happy in that situation. I don't get that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't get it. I would like to be used too. I would like to play. But if it's your job, right? If the job is the job, you got paid and you just won a Super Bowl. That's the job. No, it's a personal thing. It's just players nowadays, and again, it's getting worse and worse because of the NIL deals in college. And I like the fact that college guys can get paid, but when you can just transfer, go and go and go, you don't really learn how to be a part of a team ever. A little bit of the blue curacao, which is crazy. I've had this a few times on this show straight.
How many times? Never mind.
No, stop. I'm not going to lie. I said it out loud, and I thought the same thing. But this is definitely usually more of a mixer. Also, this stuff just looks – it is like fluorescent. I don't know if y'all have ever seen blue curacao.
B-Rad tunes and stuff. How much do you
John,
think the
cheers
DC selection affects the whole Max situation? I mean, it plays a part into it. I think – and I don't think the Raiders would do this because the last time they did a move like this, it bit them in the butt, a la the Antonio Pierce situation. But I think a try to keep Max here higher would be trying to hire Rob Leonard as the DC. That would be we want to keep Max happy and keep him here. He has a great relationship with Rob Leonard, so let's just promote him to the DC.
I don't think it matters at all who the defensive coordinator is for Max Crosby.
Really? Why do you say that?
Because I don't know what Max is like. To me, there are people in part of Max's team, they can't tell me otherwise, that are saying like, hey, options are out here, options are out here. If Max doesn't think that the Raiders can win a football game, that the Raiders can be good, it doesn't matter who you bring in for defensive coordinator. I really don't think so.
Some mixed Raiders-Texans news.
Ooh, I'm listening.
David O'Reilly, Howard Hughes.
O'Reilly.
They were CEOs of this group that helped build the Las Vegas practice facility and everything like that, are also going to be working on the Texans' new practice facility. So the people who built the Raiders compound and everything are going to be also building the new Texans compound.
Wow, this is a great hire for the Seattle Seahawks.
What'd they just do?
Seahawks are hiring former Ravens defensive coordinator Zach Orr as the inside linebackers coach.
Makes sense.
Here's why that's interesting. Do you have the player card for Chris Partridge?
In a pear tree.
Chris Partridge in a pear tree. Again, he said inside linebacker coach for Baltimore. Again, there's some organizations that have outside linebacker coaches and inside linebacker coaches. The number one coach that I have thought that the Raiders could bring over to be a special teams coach is Chris Partridge. Seahawks outside linebacker. Again, some organizations do inside and outside linebackers. I think with a guy that's got defensive coordinator experience, I wonder if Zach Orr is just going to be their linebacker coach. Could that be one of those moves that timing is everything? Where there's smoke, there's fire. I wonder if this means that Chris Partridge is going to join us. Somebody who's got special teams experience at Michigan. Could he bring over and come over here with us to be our special teams coach? Again, just merely speculation. But I look at that news, and that's the first thing that I thought of. Could Chris Partridge come over and be, I don't know, our linebacker coach? We've been looking for a linebacker coach. We could use one.
AP could be linebacker coach.
Nope. Wiz, Mitch, please never tell your wife you love tortas. Yeah, I have learned this joke the hard way, Wiz, and but I'll tell you this, my wife knows how much I love her. She is the greatest thing that I think has honestly ever happened to me. She supports me in so many different ways, but also I got to get to I've learned a few things that you can and cannot say the hard way, but I'll tell you this, dude, I love tortas. I do. I also
Nobody
love,
clipped that.
Nobody clipped that. I also love the Weldinator.
Shh.
Bang! What up, Mitch? What up, Weldinator? Hey, Weldinator. I got something in the mail today. What do you think?
Weldinator.
What do you think? It's your number. Yours is 25 because I ordered it in year 2025. Like that's how back order some of these were. But I got it. The Weldinator jersey.
Get welded.
Finally in the building.
Get nadered.
In the building. You said that to Alex99. No, I basically one time said to Alex that I love tortas because I do. I love the sandwich. And her mom and her started laughing. And then they kind of explained to me what the other slang term is. So, yeah. I still can't process how Kubiak is our head coach. I don't think people should look at it as what the Raiders have been. I think you got to look at what the Raiders are right now. And that's just like the way that it is, right? It's like, I don't want to say it's like a relationship because everything matters. But, sometimes you got to ignore what happened in the past if it's not about you, and look at the present and say, you know what, that's a really good fit for me. And I can understand Kubiak looking at the number 1 overall pick, all the salary cap space, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, and he's looking at that situation, and I think that he's confident that he can get the most out of that offense, no doubt about it. But sorry for making y'all worry last week. I got too lit. Yeah, Weldon, we looked over, and homie was passed out in the couch. But at the same time, I don't know. It tells me I wasn't the most effed up person there. I also know the only way I'm falling asleep in public is if I'm comfortable around the people I'm with.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not just going to fall asleep on a couch. But, dude, Raiders really bring DC as QB coach. Also, should we bring back Alexander Mattison as our RB2? Bringing back Derek Carr as a quarterback coach, that to me is a crazy dream. I don't see why DC would do that, though. I also, Derek the other day on his podcast said that he would want to play for a team that he believes could help him win a Super Bowl. With all due respect, Carr, that's a crazy statement to make. I think you should want to play for a team that gives you the chance to start. That's what he should be looking for.
His brother won a Super Bowl.
With what, the Giants? Okay, I was I'm trying to do the math. I'm when did he win it? But this would be my fear, right? Derek Carr making that statement tells me that he can't be a quarterback on the Raiders. If Derek said in his podcast, which he did, that he would want to play for a team that helps him win a Super Bowl, you can't want Derek Carr on the Raiders. You want Fernando Mendoza. In terms of Alexander Mattison, I talked to Madison a little bit at Super Bowl Media Row. He, again, super nice guy, but he shouldn't be your running back too. At this point, if you're going to be a run-first offense, which the Raiders are, with a young rookie quarterback in Mendoza, you gotta make sure that you have a good RB2. I look at a Tyler Algier, and I would much rather go out and get Tyler Algier than Alexander Mattison. And now Mattison, I actually do believe, was a part of one of the Kubiak offenses back in 2021 with Minnesota. Yeah, I believe that he was a part of one of those regimes, but at this point, man, no, I'm not interested. If you are trying to get your hands on a Kubiak hoodie or t-shirt, hang on. All right, nope, nothing new there. Then go to chatsports.com/Kubiak because I'll tell you this, I really, really feel like we're Kubiak.
Only for this week. Our boss said he extended it, he extended it until next week. Sin City drinking team t-shirts, Kubiak shirts, hoodies, Raiders Report gear. If you spend $50 on the Chat Sports website, you get $10 off. So go ahead, get your Raiders gear right now. You can pair it, the Sin City shirt, with, I don't know, maybe the Kubiak hoodie or maybe the Fernando Mendoza t-shirt or, I don't know, maybe the Raiders Report t-shirt.
You got it all, man. And again, if there's a lot of links there, every single link is down in the comments, down in the description of this program. So if you want to go get your hands on some gear, please make sure you do it. Though, we got to get the wheel spin for the Weldinator. So we've got a blue Curacao. We've had a tequila shot. What's up, Gunny? Yeah, we technically hired Mike McCoy yesterday. Crash Dog. That's what we were live for. Was it yesterday or was it Wednesday?
It was yesterday.
I was going to say it was yesterday. Yeah. Today, I'll go through what it was. This is probably the lightest one out of them all. What's the alcohol? I think it's like 14. But this one's gross. Like, what's 24%? So that's by far the lowest out of them all. But this one's disgusting to me.
Mitch, just don't ever tell Alex or your mother-in-law that you love gorditas. Oh, what is gorditas?
I was going to say, what is, you guys telling me to never say it, I'm going to be like a kid. I'm going to be like, honey, what is this?
Oh, that's
the Weldinator.
The name means little fat one in Spanish, referring to a thick, puffy texture.
Oh, God, bro, I'm done with those.
So I'm guessing that's like the shorter tortas. A shorta.
Oh, dude. That's hilarious. Gunny, anything else I missed? So we'll run through it real quick. Can we run through all the socials?
Yeah. First, can we tell them about?
Yes. If you don't know, SaveAWarrior.org for veterans and first responders struggling. Shout out to my guy Gunny, and shout out to all the amazing work that he does for Save a Warrior and all the veterans that are out there that allow us to do what we do every single day here. I think we live in the greatest country on the planet, and I want to support them.
This Raiders Newscap is brought to you by SaveAWarrior.org/donate.
Hey, tell them Father Tom sent you. First off, Gunny, Ian Rappaport, Rams assistant head coach and pass game coordinator Aubrey Pleasant, has been requested to interview for the Raiders defensive coordinator job. God bless you. Also, some news coming in that Karl Scott, he's going to be staying with the Seattle Seahawks. That was somebody that had some interesting ties and I thought could be a potential defensive coordinator candidate for the Raiders. The Raiders, they requested to interview Seahawks assistant Justin Otten for the run game coordinator, but Seattle blocked it, and they're allowed to block it because it's a lateral move. But this tells me that the Raiders weren't interested in Otten for their OC job. They were interested, I believe, in Jake Peets and in Andrew Janocko. Ashton Grant, the Patriots quarterback coach, said, I'm good. I'm not really interested in joining the Raiders, which, again, to me, I'm not really upset because I don't really want somebody who's working underneath Josh McDaniels to become a part of our organization here for the Las Vegas Raiders. That's why we're live today / we're going to go live no matter what. It is Raiders Happy Hour. We got 42 minutes left of Happy Hour here on the Raiders Report. And if you don't know the deals of today's show, they are as follows. If you super chat, hey, and you want to get a little beer cheers in for everybody out there, please make sure you do so. You want to get in our duck race, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. If you bang, we get the shot wheel going. If you want me to put down a boot, $500 Venmo. And Chuggs said that he would do the first one. I'll boot race him if we get a $500 Venmo. I'll boot race him. And then whoever is the MVP, which right now as it stands, it's John Rodriguez, LA Crash Dog, or LA.
That is true.
LCA and the Weldinator have all banged on this show. Ty goes to Mount Raidermore. So in my book, that means Lord Cameron Abbott is the MVP of today's show. Some of the B-Day punishments that I thought we could do. And again, you can pick, but I got to be able to approve it. Like, I don't want it to be something so outrageous and crazy that my dad and I don't want it to be weird. So if you're the MVP and you pick something, it could also be like, I want you to drink this beer. Or my dad hates sushi. Make my dad eat a piece of sushi. The other options that I gave, Weldinator gave me some Cheese Whiz from the Philippines. I don't like Cheese Whiz, Weld. I know you said eat it on crackers, but Cheese Whiz to me is kind of weird. So I'll eat a whole packet of it. I'll eat a can of tuna, or if you want my dad to put a little cake in my face. Kind of weird saying that out loud.
I almost put a different picture but I didn't think that Alex or Danny would appreciate it.
Is that a baby?
That's a baby with cake in his face, but I took a cake in the face in another direction with the other picture that I was going to put in there. Decided not to do that, though.
My back.
I will say also, Charles Edwards makes a good point. He said, hey, Chuggs, just saying, will you have to change the Kubiak hoodie if they trade Crosby?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sell you guys something that's got somebody that's not on it. There's been a part of me that has wondered, should we take Max off it? But I will say this. I think Max, as long as he's on this team, he deserves to be on it. And, we can be frustrated with how things are going right now, but it's still also only February. You never know what's going to happen. But, again, Max was always going to be my guy. But, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. There is a chance that we'd have to change it. That sucks, but it's the God honest truth. It's the Raiders, though. Like, there's a chance anything can happen, right? Like, we got Mendoza shirts. There's a chance we don't draft Mendoza. I'd say it's like less than a 1% chance. But still, at the end of the day, it's when you have as much turnover as we do, how many of y'all bought Pete Carroll stuff? How many of y'all bought Antonio Pierce stuff? How many of y'all bought Josh McDaniels stuff? I mean, not anything that I sold Josh McDaniels, but I know there's people out there that were buying that stuff. Mitch, what would you think if we could get Justin Jefferson? I mean, obviously, I'd be interested in Justin Jefferson. I personally think he's the best wide receiver.
Crosby and a first for Jefferson?
See, to me, if you're the Raiders, you can't give up a first. And I think that's the other part where people think that Justin Jefferson for Max Crosby straight up is enough. I don't think it's enough for Minnesota. And, Minnesota, not that they don't need more talent, but they're pretty good on the defensive line right now. So, I think you'd have to offer way more than you'd want to give up. Like, would you trade Max Crosby in a first-round pick for Justin Jefferson? Because I actually think that – I don't know if it'd be a first, but I bet it's Max in a second to go get JJ. And to me, that's not a smart investment, even with us in need of a great wide receiver, even with us drafting a dude like Fernando Mendoza. That totally depletes our draft, and it hurts our defensive line a lot. So, again, I know, certain players are great, but not every player and not every situation and not every trade makes the most sense for those teams. Let's go to just a thought. So if the Patriots can turn it around so quick with a new head coach, why does Max not think that we can with the Raiders, with all the money we have in free agency and our draft picks? I mean, it would be just like if you were in a relationship and the person that you were in a relationship with tells you everything you want to hear year after year after year, right? Like I would love to sit here and tell all of y'all that the Raiders are going to be able to get it going in the right direction. I'm hopeful. You have to be hopeful for a Raiders fan. But I could also understand from Max's standpoint, it's been like this for how many years in a row? To my point, though, you signed the contract. You did what you did with the contract. And after what Max did with that front load, again, to me, money talks in the NFL. And I think I'm not saying Max has been planning to get traded, but Max knew in the back of his mind that, hey, I want to formulate my contract this way, that if we're not winning, I know I can get out, and I know I can get traded, and I know I can get a brand new contract.
Funny in the chat, Brian Folsom said he still has the Antonio Pierce jersey that we sent him.
I mean, I want y'all to hang on to that. I still have a Devontae Adams jersey, and I would never wear it, but it matters to me because I don't think of it as Devontae Adams. I think of it as I got that jersey after the Devontae Adams live.
I will say
that Devontae Adams live stream was wild.
I think everybody does it for clout and this, that, and the other. I think burning jerseys is the lamest shit.
Could not agree.
Unless that person killed somebody or did something horrific. If that person just left in free agency or got traded, burning a jersey is just
you're burning your
money. Most childish thing ever.
Yeah, again, it also depends where you buy your jersey. There's a lot of places that if you buy jersey insurance, if you ever buy a jersey from us, chatsports.com/Raiders jerseys, it costs a little bit of extra money, but you can buy jersey insurance. And then if the player gets traded, you can actually return that jersey, and they will send you a new one because you bought the insurance around it. I mean, in today's day and age with players coming and going, I would always buy jersey insurance personally. But I also really only, if I buy jerseys anymore, it's legends. I would buy a Howie Long. I would buy a Charles Woodson. I would buy a Jim Otto way, way before I buy any current Raiders player. And that's just the way that it goes. Brian Nichols, Anthony Green. I see you guys getting in the duck race. And then Brandon Abbott. Any relation to Lord Cameron Abbott? Let's go to A-Liz. What up, A-Liz? Happy birthday weekend, Mitch, and happy Friday to Chuggs and the nation. Considering this is a run-heavy offense, who should we target for RB2? So you guys are going to get a video out tomorrow on I made a video. You guys will get it. It's the perfect Raiders free agents for Klint Kubiak. And I talk about the number one quarterback that I would sign, the number one running back I would sign, number one wide receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, and offensive lineman. I'm not going to tell you those names. I don't want to be a total spoiler. But I would say you have to find somebody that, A, is a reliable running back in terms of, I don't need anything sexy, right? Like, there are certain backs, like if you wanted to look at a Kenneth Gainwell to catch some passes, I think that could be an important role. If you wanted to look at a Tyler Algier who can run between the tackles, doesn't put the ball on the ground, I think that could be an important role. If you were looking at somebody who has like some ties to some people, like a Rashad White, that could be an interesting role. But what I do think the Raiders need is you have to sign somebody in free agency. I think you also have to draft a running back because, you know, with Raheem Mostert being a free agent and with Zamir White being a free agent, it's Ashton Genty, Dylan Laube, and Chris Collier. I mean, there is nobody that I trust besides Genty on that roster. But run-heavy offense, you're going to invest in another running back. Like, I anticipate the deal that's going to be given. I don't know if it's going to be as much as the Kenyon Drake deal, which when the Raiders had Jacobs, I believe the Kenyon Drake deal, it's because it's one of the craziest shows that Chuggs and I have ever done. It was a 2-year, I want to say $14.5 million deal. I could see the Raiders going out and trying to spend like 2 for $10 on a guy and front-loading that contract so the first year is a lot guaranteed, and then we'll wait and see what that second year ends up looking like. But you'll see my answer tomorrow, Liz. I promise you. Breakfast. Mitch, how much money for you and Chuggs not to talk about Max and Adams for a week?
Breakfast, if you Venmo me $200 at Jeremy Chuggs right now, I won't talk about Max and Adams for a week.
I mean, but that's Jeremy.
Yeah, it's just me. I won't talk about it. I'll just listen to Mitch. Breakfast. At Jeremy Chuggs, the Venmo, $200. Won't talk about it for a whole week. That's my deal.
I mean, here's the unfortunate part, Breakfast. If any news or rumors come out, I would be tempted to talk about it. So I would say, it's a big number. You ready? $10,000 Venmo. And I say that only because I know that there's going to be things that pop up over the course of next week that are going to require me to do my job. And the only way that I'm not going to mention people that I feel like allow me to do my job at the personal best is if anybody out there pays me a stupid amount of money to do it. Because I don't want new viewers. I don't want new subscribers. I don't want people that watch this show to hang out with us and get good content to not be able to give that content. So
I'll do it for $200.
You got to beat Raider Ron's record for me not to talk.
Breakfast, much better deal for me. At Jeremy Chuggs on my Venmo, $200. Won't even talk about it.
Butters, damn, that's just ridiculous. You're right, Butters. It's completely ridiculous. That's why I said it. You know, again, like to me, there's nothing more important to me outside of like my family, like my wife, my dog, my family. There's nothing that I take more pride in than trying to keep Raider Nation up to date and honestly giving people the best coverage they can. So I won't sell my soul on that. Only way I do is if it's a stupid amount of money. So there you go.
I'll do it for $200. Breakfast.
Anthony said you can just say whose name should not be spoken. True. How much money for you and Chuggs not to talk about Max?
But then they would think that the Raiders might trade Voldemort.
True. And he's already signed with the Patriots. He plays linebacker. So, bro, I mean, you can't tell me you don't look like Voldemort. Again, y'all, 31 minutes left here for a little Friday happy hour. The deals. Here are the deals on the program. Loud! Cameron Abbott!
Bang! It's fun to stay at the LCA.
What up, Cam? Brandon Abbott. My brother, you met him in San Jose.
Brother.
It's my brother. He was the guy trying to take the picture of you holding me up. The pic I have in the corner now. Took too long. You're a soldier. Raiders. I didn't selfishly to Cam's brother. I didn't remember your name, and you can get mad at me for that. You can honestly blame your brother.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Christ almighty.
You're going to look like you just.
I'm going to piss. Yeah. I'm going to literally shit a Smurf later on today.
It's going to look like you were chewing clown from a Smurf. I learned that slang term this weekend.
It looked like I was eating a torta Smurf.
Have you heard that, chewing clown?
No. What?
I saw it this weekend, looked it up. I was like, all right, okay. I don't think I would ever call it that.
Tito Gore says, happy birthday, Mitch. Take a shot off Chubb's foot. What'd you get me for my birthday? I got you a shot off of Jeremy's foot. Not even Chuggs, by the way. Chubbs. I remember Brandon, I promise you this. I would 100% remember your face. But, also, I know I was just as excited to meet Cam. I know him and I were both just as excited to meet Cam just because of all the crazy shit he always does on this show. But being able to hang out with the entire fan, being able to get to meet you, all the kind things that, you had to say about each other was a really, really cool thing. But I saw Abbott. I mean, again, there's last names that can be duplicated. So when I saw Brandon Abbott got in the duck race, I was like, shit, I wonder if that's Cam's brother. To Brandon, to Cameron, to the entire Abbott family, cheers to y'all, man. Cheers to y'all.
I'll just say breakfast. I have not received the Venmo, so I will continue talking about Max Crosby.
Oh, God. It's so bad. Oh, my God. It's so bad, dude. Smell it. This just smells. It smells like.
Torta?
No.
Gordita?
It smells like a really bad hangover.
A shorta?
I'm trying to think of how it smells. Have you ever been really hungover on vacation and you go out onto the beach and it's 100 degrees? Have you ever gone to an all-inclusive and you wake up and you're like, there's no way I'm going to drink at 10 o'clock in the morning. But then you get out there and you're like, well,
dude,
I'm here on an all-inclusive.
9 a.m., give me a banana daiquiri.
Oh, and I'm the same way. That taste, though, that's straight sugar liquor. I don't really know how else to explain it besides that. That's bad. That's not good. Not good at all. Yikes. Do you feel that the disrespect that Max gave you is unrecoverable? Meaning, do you feel like that you could be cool and bridge that divide? Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, again, again, this might be naive of me, but Max was the very first player that I've ever reached out to. I've met the Crosby family. Max and I have talked for the entire time that he's been a Raider. But, we're talking, we talk way less now than ever before. Is it unrecoverable? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. I will always rock with Max. I'll always rock with the Crosby Foundation. But at the same time, I am also allowed to feel a type of way because, respect is a two-way street. And if I feel like, I've been kind of disrespected in a way, I'm allowed to feel that I was disrespected. And just right? There's times where you guys do certain things that I'm not saying that I disrespect you or you disrespect me. Yeah, it's an old one.
Yo, Weldinator, Jeremy told me you were here, and I was like, yo, is this guy in the office? What is going on here? I was like, I had to see him if he was here, but shout out to you for the super chat, brother. Good to see you. Hope all is well, and hope you had an absolute blast for Super Bowl week, bro. TBD on the next Warriors stream. We'll figure that out as we go, but shout out to my guy, the Weldinator, always showing love.
I messaged him. I was like, bro, Weldinator's here if you want to say what's up. Runs in. He's like, where is he? I'm like,
not here.
Yeah, not here.
If he was, he'd be sleeping on the couch over there. He'd be sleeping on the couch over here. But no, to answer your question, Brian, no, it's to me, Max would have to do some absolutely outlandish shit for me to not respect him and what he represents. Crash Dog, not only does Crosby give max effort all the time, but he also demands everyone else too. He is also the first one to fight someone, which I really love, that old school Raiders mentality, so it would be tough to lose him. I've seen a lot of Raiders players come and go in my time here. The number one hardest player to see get moved on from would be Max Crosby, without a doubt in my mind. But I also know that if Max gets traded, Max is asking to get out. I think this blue Curacao is catching up to me.
Max is that.
Yeah, I mean, Max is asking to get out, which kind of makes it a little bit easier for me, right? Like, I want guys that want to be Raiders. And I actually do think, like, and I know that the Raiders haven't won a lot of games, but I will continuously say that I believe that the Raiders have always done right by Max Crosby, even at the end of last season. They did right by Max Crosby, especially with the information that we have out right now. So to me, yeah, I don't want to lose Max, right? Like, but if you were in a relationship, Crash Dog, with somebody else, I know you're happily married, but if you were in a relationship with somebody, wouldn't you want that person to be with you? Doesn't matter how much you care about them, doesn't matter how much you love and respect them, but at the end of the day, like, I want them to want to be with me, and I want Max to want to be a Raider. If Max doesn't want to be a Raider, then it's a lot easier for me to move on. And if, and again, like, Max can say, oh, it's only about winning. And maybe it is only about winning. But at the end of the day, I love Raider Nation, and I love this Raiders football team. And people can look at it as a business all they want. But, like, I don't know. Like, I would never get tatted a Raider shield on me if I didn't want to be a Raider for life. Like, people jokingly all the time say I'm a fan of other football teams and this and that because I wasn't born a Raider fan. But I'm like, I got the nation inked on me. Like, I am a Raider till I die. There's no way I would ever cover any other football team. I'm not saying I'm going to cover the Raiders my entire life. Like, selfishly, if another company said, hey, Mitch, I'm going to pay you Max Crosby type money to go talk about the NFL, of course I'd have to entertain that idea. But, like, at the end of the day, like, I am a Raider. Like, I will be a Raiders fan for life. If y'all ever see me on TV talking about something, I guarantee you this, I'm going to be a Raider. Like, I'm going to be the dude that's always going to talk positively about the Raiders because I love Raider Nation way more than I love any of those Raiders players. That's a fact. Ox the Boss. Mitch, let's celebrate both of our birthdays. Mine's the 16th, and celebrating my 44th. Raiders fans are born in February. Raider Nation for life. Ox the Boss. So that's Monday.
Raiders.
I mean, I'll tell you this. There's a legendary birthday run coming up here at Chat Sports. So we got Ox the Boss on the 16th. Excuse me. We got Klint Kubiak the 17th. The 18th, I want to say, is Moose. Our boss, James, is the 19th. Mine's the 20th. Lopez, I think, is the 22nd. Coop's the 27th. There's a lot of birthdays coming up here at the Chat Sports office. And now we can add Ox the Boss. But Ox, I won't be partying on Tuesday. We'll be celebrating Kubiak's birthday. But I'm telling you this right now. I think next Friday's show with my dad in the building and us also celebrating LCA, probably 99% going to get into Mount Raider more. I think next Friday's show is going to be the day to do it because we're going to get rowdy. Not only is it my actual birthday, I'm going to have my dad here in the studio, and then that's when I'm going to get kicked off my birthday weekend. So what's also crazy is on Sunday then, when I go to the airport, I'm going to the airport with my dad. I'm going to the Combine, and then he's obviously going to be heading back home. My next few days, like my next week.
He's not flying. He's just driving from the airport back to PA.
He probably would. He probably wishes he could. That's usually what my dad does. He loves the road trip. He's not road tripping down to Daytona, but he probably would. Raider Tone, 2 first-round picks, and right guard Mike Onwenu from the Patriots for Max. This is an interesting idea, and I do think that, like, if you're going to get 2 first-round picks, this is kind of what you got to feel like it's going to be. Pick number 31, another first in 2027. I'll say this. I am not all that educated See, I'm seeing you're saying right. Oh, I was going to say, I thought he was a guard. Okay. He's one of the better right guards in the NFL. I'm an idiot. I saw RT and I was like, I don't think he plays right tackle.
Oh, no, yeah, he's a guard.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's one of the better right guards in the NFL. This is a trade that, yes, I would do. I would do this trade. I would. This instantly makes your right guard position better. What's also really good about this deal is, so then your offensive line is Colton Miller, JPJ. How do you pronounce it? Mike Onwenu? Is that how you pronounce it?
Mike Onwenu.
Onwenu. And then all you got to do then is figure out, like in my mind, you got to hope DJ Glaze, Caleb Rogers, and Charles Grant. One out of those 3 third-rounders can be another starter. You can bring back Jordan Meredith. He's kind of like your 6th man. Whoever isn't that starter between DJ Glaze, Caleb Rogers, and I feel like I just keep going over the same names over and over. DJ Glaze, Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant. That's going to be your other backup. And then you can still go out and spend money because if you trade Max, you're going to save $30 million. Like, that's the other part of the equation that I need Raider fans to realize as well. I love Max, but you can add $30 million on top of getting all this extra draft capital if you move on from Crosby. Again, it's like, to me, I'll tell you this right now. I will be happy with Max on the team, and I will be okay with Max not being on the team. That's where I'm at right now. But, yes, I would do that trade. Sorry again, I got confused. The real Mr. Bill, when did men stop
respecting?
Okay, contracts. Make honoring your word manly again.
Can I play devil's advocate here?
Yep.
I'll say this. I get where everybody's like, oh, they need to, in certain cases, yes, I agree with you, the real Mr. Bill. Guys have to realize I signed a contract, and this is what I have to do. But in the same breath, teams cut guys all the time. Teams trade guys all the time. So in that same, way, should teams have to honor the contract? If you signed a guy to a 3 or 4 year deal, should you have to keep them on your roster for 4 years? Because that's what you're saying. You're saying if a guy signs a 4-year deal, he has to play with that team, respect that contract, not ask for a new extension before that deal is done. But should teams have to keep those guys on the roster for the entire time they signed them?
And I agree with what Jeremy is saying here. I also understand what you're saying, right? Like, here's the thing. It takes 2 to tango to get a deal done. And I actually think that Max structured his contract and the Raiders structured his contract because they knew what could potentially happen. And again, this is why I want people to watch the Raiders report, because when Max signed that deal, he front-loaded it. $38 million in year 1, $32 million, and then the next 3 years, $0 million guaranteed. What that instantly told me was if the Raiders were not a winning football team in 2026 and 2027, they are going to be trying to trade him because Max is probably going to be looking to be dealt because then he wants to get a brand new deal. So, I hear what you're saying. Now, on the same breath, though, there's a lot of times where contracts are happening, and then a guy gets cut, a guy gets traded, like Geno Smith, for example, and he's going to get cut and he's going to make $18.5 million, right? There's sometimes teams go out and they pay players like Geno, and he's absolutely terrible on and off the field. I think it is very much a two-way street. I get what you're saying in honoring contracts, but again, I think it's very much a case-by-case situation. I do think, though, that people should honor their word. That's always going to be something. And I think that that's one of the reasons why. I think Max does really, truly stand, on what he says. I believe that. And I think it's why he's not saying, I want to be a Raider. I think it's why he's tiptoeing the line, because he could technically be like, well, I've never said that I wanted to be a Raider for life. All I've said is that I want to stay in Las Vegas, which he does. He wants to stay in Las Vegas because they built a dream home. I don't think when him saying he wants to stay in Las Vegas has anything to do with the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, we're getting tight-ropey, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Ivan, what's going on? Also, Ox the Boss, I actually don't even know if I said happy birthday to you. I think I did, but if I didn't, happy early birthday to you, man. And I appreciate everybody wanting to hang out with us and spend their hard-earned money, spend their hard-earned time with Jeremy and I and everybody here on the Raiders Report. So we got 15 minutes, y'all. 15 minutes until happy hour is officially over. Here are the deals that we have on the program. They've been the same deals all day long. We will do this duck race in probably about 10 minutes from now. Okay, 10 minutes from now. If you super chat, I hope if you're at home watching with us, hey, you do a little bit of a beer cheers and you appreciate everyone that always tunes in. If you want an opportunity to win some money, it's a $20 Venmo. Mitchell Renz 365. Right now you have a chance to win $140. If you bang on the program, we're going to spin the shot wheel. So far I've done 1 tequila and
3 blue Curacao.
it feels like 10 Curaçaos because they're disgusting. And then $500 Venmo, boot race between Chuggs and I. I'll say this. If you're going to do this, this needs to happen quick. Because I think the only fun part about doing a boot is what happens after. What usually happens with a boot. So whoever the MVP is, which right now as it stands is Lord Cameron Abbott, you get to pick my punishment for my birthday live show on February 20th. Here's just some examples. LCA, and again, if you're like, I don't even want you to do a punishment.
Sardines would be fun.
Like, Cam, if you wanted my dad to wear your jersey on my birthday celebration or I'll wear the jersey, you're the MVP, man. You can pick it. But I also know that sometimes people like to see
sardines would be awesome.
I'm not doing sardines. Like, if we got sardines with pizza, I'm not eating straight sardines. Don't even say it. I know.
What about a
Don't even say
what about a lingua taco?
Bro.
Would you rather do sardines or a lingua taco?
Probably a lingua taco. But that's because it's a taco. Like, if you told me I'd probably still pick, I don't know. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Like, you guys can say it's great. You can say it's easy, this and that. I'll tell you this. We're not close to me doing a lingua taco. We're not close to me doing a lingua taco. Again, you guys can eat. You guys can be mad at me, but there's certain things that just grosses me out. Grosses me out. If you want to get in the duck race, scan that QR code and get it in right now. Ivan, what did Max say? Did he talk trash or something? No. He talked no trash to me. No trash to me at all. Nothing at all. Again, I'm not, with all due respect, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs. I'm just going to say that I feel slighted to what happened. I guess I'll leave it like that. And, again, like, to me, people can get mad at me for doing the job that I do, but I also think that I have a job to do. And I feel like I always try to do my job in the most respectful way possible. There are certain topics that Raider fans want me to talk about that. Again, like, I don't even like always talking about every topic. But, again, like, this is how I put food on my table. And if everybody under the sun is talking about Max Crosby, I'm also going to talk about Max Crosby. But, to me, I feel like I've done always right by 98. And I feel like him and I have had a good working relationship. And that's probably the best way to put it. And when the motion changes a little bit, again, like, I'm allowed to be like, man, like, that's disappointing. Again, like, that's how I feel. I'm not mad at Max. I am disappointed in the actions.
Somebody said, would you eat a whole order of blazing wings from Buffalo Wild Wings?
Are they really hot?
It's like the hottest one they have.
The only reason why that makes me nervous is because as soon as the show is over, we're going to shower, get cleaned up, and we're going to go out to dinner. So I'm like, I don't really want to be full for my birthday dinner, and I also don't want to be, like, shitting my pants at my birthday dinner. Hard to believe. But so I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no on anything that requires me eating super spicy food or anything that requires me to eat a lot of food. I'll say that. See, Gabe, go. Mitch, did you see enough from Caleb Rogers? Is he a star, or are we looking for another right guard? I am not a Caleb Rogers believer. I would say the lowest draft grade that I gave out this past year was Caleb Rogers. And, we got to meet, not me personally, but our chat sports team got to meet Caleb at Big 12 Media Day. He's an outstanding dude. Like, he is a locker room glue type of guy that I'm hoping Caleb Rogers ends up turning into a guy like Jermaine Illuminor, where you kind of doubt him early on in his career, but you know he's one of the hardest working guys in that room, and he is. Like Caleb Rogers, I'm telling y'all, is one of the hardest working guys in that locker room. And I mean, I had a Raiders player tell me, I remember last offseason, like he's kind of like a dad, which is crazy because he's a rookie. But the way that he carries himself, he just carries himself in such a professional way. I look at Rodgers as being somebody that I really want to be a backup right now because from a talent standpoint, he was somebody that we had a 5th, 6th round grade on. I know the Raiders drafted him in the 3rd round, but I didn't love the pick when it happened. Like I personally don't really think Caleb Rogers can start for the Raiders anytime soon. I don't. Like I would have more confidence potentially kicking DJ Glaze into right guard. Or, again, if you're confident in Charles Grant, you put him at tackle, and then can you find your other 2 guard positions? But I love Caleb Rogers, the person. I want him to be a part of this organization because having offensive linemen that get along with everybody, I do think is an important thing when you have a team bonding thing. But from a player standpoint, I don't really want to see him out there on the field. John, oh, my God, lingua tacos with beans and freaking delicious. John, you don't have a pick, so I don't know, man. Maybe if you get a pick, I'll believe you. Roy, my brother helped me talk with you over FaceTime Friday night in San Jose. Okay, health reasons kept me home. Thank you both for your kind words and encouragement. So were you there with me? You remember that? Yeah, that was Roy. I'm sorry, you're battling through some health stuff right now.
You also have a really good brother.
Got an awesome brother. I mean, that was literally like he came up to us and he was like, "Will you talk to my brother?" I was like, "Yeah, where is he?" He's like, "He's on FaceTime." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, like, of course." And, again, man, like, to me, I don't know exactly what you're going through, but, I've had a lot of people in my life go through some ups and downs with health, and I will say the number one thing that gets people through it is 100% the people that they have around them. So the fact that your brother, not that he wasn't excited to meet me, I mean, I think the number one reason why, though, he was there is so that you and I could FaceTime. And there's so many things that happen on this show all the time that humble me, humble Chuggs, and humbled us, like, at that meetup. Like, our Chat Sports team has not stopped talking about how many people showed up and showed out for us in San Jose. And, like, there's people now who are like, they want to do meetups. And I want people to want to do meetups. But there are certain instances that happen. And again, man, like I will never forget the FaceTime that we had, Roy, because, again, dude, like, I don't want to it's just really cool that and sometimes people's lowest of lows, they want to hang out with us, they want to talk to us because I hope that we bring you up to the highest of highs. And when you bounce back and you get back to 100%, I hope that we actually get an opportunity to dap up someday. But thank you again, dude, for supporting the show. Ivan, sorry if question was uncomfortable, just wondered. There's nothing that y'all are ever going to ask me that's going to make me uncomfortable. I've answered every question. I stand on my truths here, and again, I'm never afraid to tell people how I truly feel, but the reason why we get drunk and crazy on this show, the reason why I give you guys information when I have it is because I don't sit up here and I don't lie to y'all. I tell you the truth because that's how relationships are built. The moment I'm not honest with y'all, the moment I hope that you don't watch this program anymore. But it's not how I was raised. It's not how I was brought up. And it's not how I treat people that I feel like always have my back. So I appreciate you apologizing, but you also got to understand, like, I'm not going to tell you exactly what happened, but I can tell you that I'm a little bit disappointed in Max right now. And if anybody from Max's team wants to reach out to me, you guys know how to get in contact with me. But I think at this point, the writing is on the wall for me in regards to Max. So I'll leave it like that. Final call for you to get in the duck race. $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. Final call for you to get in. We got 724 people here in the building as it stands right now. And if you're wondering, Mitch, how much is it to get in? I'm looking, and we got a few more people that just got in. Timmy Jones, you in. Isidro, you in. So as it stands, 20 to win, $160. Oh boy, here on the program today. I'm telling you what, that's awful, that stuff. That's the lightest shot in terms of alcohol content. mean, I also have vodka up here, which I don't like. Fireball, obviously. But the 3 shots of the blue curacao I mean, that was bad. Brian Folsom just got in. Hang on. 2 of them. Dose for Brian Folsom. Dose for the Folsom. Butters, tell Max if he stays, I'm going to get his tattoo. You know, as much as I would love to tell him that, I don't think that that's going to change his opinion or not. Sean Morgan, you're in. You in. Also, at the same time, I would never get a tattoo of any current Raiders player. No way. I wouldn't do it. I honestly don't know if I'd get a tattoo of any player. And I say that simply because you just never know what can happen in life. Like, you don't want to get a tattoo of a player that you can love as much as you want, and then they do some outlandish shit, and then you got that guy, and then you're going to have to get it covered up. Right? Like, it's the hard truth. Just like I would never want y'all to get a tattoo of me. That's coming from me. You know, like,
I mean, I'm cool if y'all get a tattoo of me.
Yeah, it's just, life is crazy, dude. And you never know what can happen. You never know what can happen. So, yeah, not going to happen. Though, then again, I got Raider Ron initials on my shield. So, is what it is. All right, I'm going to refresh my phone one last time here. And, of course, we got more people in. Ryan Decker in. Adrian Bravo in. 20 to win. $210. 20 to win. $210. Nobody else is getting in. Nobody else. Nobody else. Oh, wait. Another one from Sean. I actually missed it. Sean had I missed Sean's other one. Sorry, Sean. I don't know. That's on me, bro. Blame the Curacao. Blame the Curacao. That's what lasers are for, Robert? Dude, I don't know. Like, because I've met so many tattoo artists where then, you know, you're kind of like ruining their work. And if I was a tattoo artist, like, I'm doing that tattoo for a reason. Like, I don't want you to keep it. I don't want you to keep it. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. Winner is going to go home with $210. Winner's going to go home with $210. Ryan Decker. Oh my, who are they shooting at? I mean, I get it because it's Valentine's Day. A lot of people are falling in love down below. Though, I think it's weird that Anthony Green is the only one with green hair.
What do they know?
I mean, that's got to be a coincidence, I think. Carlos Comedy, I didn't really picture you to look like this. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, Jeremy Valve right now, a little bit of a lead.
Ryan Decker.
I mean, are just a giant orgy down below? Or is
dude, they are getting after it down below.
It's disgusting what's happening down there right now.
It's, what do we always say from the other guys? Dirty Mike.
Dirty Mike and the boys' little soup kitchen action.
Little soup kitchen down below.
Oh, man, there's something going on. Brandon Abbott against Lord Cameron Abbott. And Cameron says, not today.
Fun to stay at the LCA.
What's so funny is Cam literally beat his brother for that win.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I mean, you know, hey, man, when you put good energy out into the world, good shit happens. Congratulations to LCA, who's going home with $210 on the Raiders Report. He was the MVP on today's show. I think he just made all his money back. So shout out to Cam, dude. If there's one guy that deserves it this month, it's freaking Lord Cameron Abbott, who, by the way, I have to update the numbers. I haven't done it in a while. He is our February bang race leader as it stands right now. In fact, nobody has banged more than LCA in the year 2026. Also, Cam, I have the jacket and my Super Bowl media credential. I signed both. I will be sending those to you. Well, not me, but our chat sports team here is going to be sending those to you very, very soon. We got 60 seconds left. 60 seconds left here on the program. I just want to say this before we hop on out of here. If you need any Raiders Report merch, I hope that you guys don't get mad that we're going to be pushing a lot more merch because it's something that I'm very proud of, being a member here of Chat Sports and the Raiders Report for as long as I've had. You know, we have so many team members now. We've helped this team grow. None of the Super Chats, none of the Venmos ever go into my pocket, Jeremy's pocket. They always get back invested to getting you guys more. And more in this situation is getting some more swag. On top of that, though, if any news happens, you know, later on tonight, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I do have a 3-day weekend, but my pledge to the nation, as always, I will do my best to keep you guys up to date. Also, I will be live Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and then I will be live this upcoming Friday, February 20th, for my birthday. My dad will be in the building. LCA, let me know what you want from the MVP standpoint, and LA Crash Dog, I can't wait to welcome you in to Mount Raidermore. Happy hour is over. The Raiders Report is closing shop. Enjoy y'all's weekend and be ready for a crazy week next week here on the Raiders Report.